Okay, as we get started with our elementary PLCs this year, I get to explain the processes that we're going to use. So I'm going to actually skip the why. I'm hoping that we all kind of understand the why of what we're doing already. But this year I'm going to talk about the what we are doing. So first of all, before I get into this, I want to make sure that we are talking the same language in the curriculum. So just in case I switch terms as I go through, um, in the new curriculum, our outcome, when we compare it to the old curriculum, would be similar to the general learning outcome. And then in the new curriculum, the knowledge, understanding, skills, and procedures would be similar to what we call the specific learning outcomes in the old curriculum. So I don't think our languages all come together yet, but at least for this presentation, that's what I'm going to be talking about. So if I say outcome, I am talking about the general learning outcome, or a skill and procedure is the specific learning outcome. So what we are going to do is we are going to choose the essential skills and procedures that we want to report on. So I want to make it clear though, before we get started on this, that even when you choose essentials, all curriculum must be taught and all curriculum must be assessed, but not all the curriculum must be formally assessed. So just keep that in mind that as we go through, that we are not choosing what curriculum to teach and what curriculum not to teach. So as we get into our PLCs this year, the first thing that you're going to be asked to do, so step one, is within each outcome, so each general learning outcome, we want you to determine which skill and procedure, so the specific learning outcome, which of them matter enough that they should be reported on, like on a report card to parents or on a progress report to parents. And then once you have gone through each of the general learning outcomes and chosen the skills and procedures that matter enough to report on them, we want you to go through those essential skills and procedures that you've chosen and then link them to the knowledge points of the cusps or the specific learning outcomes and make sure that we know the knowledge outcomes that tie to the skill and procedures outcomes, and especially looking at previous grades, your current grade, and then future grades of those um, knowledge points within the curriculum. I'm going to give you an example to make it make sense. So if you look at the grade 3 curriculum, this is their LA curriculum, there is a skill and procedure in there that says create written text for a variety of audiences and purposes. And then when you jump ahead to grade 4, they have a skill and procedure that says create written text for a variety of audiences and purposes. And I believe grade 5 and grade 6, maybe even grade 2 and grade 1, have those have that same skill and procedure. And so if we're only looking at the skills and procedures, it's very wide open for what we expect kids to be able to do at that grade level. And so it's really important that we look back and connect it to the knowledge points of the curriculum. Now, the reason why we're doing this right now is as this curriculum came out, there was a lot of discussion around skills and procedures and not as much about knowledge. So some of us might have gone through and looked at this closely ourselves, but I don't know if as a system we did this all together. So I think it matters a lot here, and I'll show you why. In grade 3, when you're looking at what's required when you're teaching the skills and procedures, if you look across to the knowledge side, you can see that the writing process in grade 3 that's used to organize and share messages includes planning, drafting, revising, editing, sharing. That's the writing process. We're all quite familiar with it. And when you look at that, it seems like it makes a lot of sense, even intuitively. And then when you jump ahead to grade 4 and see how the knowledge points of the curriculum adjust, you'll see that the word sharing actually is no longer there and now it's publishing. And that should actually send a message to both grade 3 and grade 4 about what that last step of the writing process is expected to be at their grade. So sharing, if you go back and look, you can actually see it's defined lower down in the knowledge part of the curriculum. And then so is publishing. And so you can see that that part shifts. Kids aren't just only expected to be able to do these skills at a higher level that's kind of vaguely like intuitive. Like those definitions are in the knowledge part of the curriculum, and we should take a close look to see what the expectation is when we are assessing a student's writing in this case. So, and the other thing we want you to see, I just want to point this out to some of you that are working on the LA curriculum as we go through this. You will see some templates that have already been started, and I just want to point out the colors to you real fast. Under the knowledge part, when we go through, you'll see that there is some of the knowledge things that are highlighted in red or pink, and then some that are highlighted in purple. So the red ones are highlighting knowledge outcomes or specific learning outcomes that are new to that grade. So the kids have never been asked to do that before. This is looking at the grade 4 curriculum, I believe. And you can see that those ones down at the bottom, this is the first time kids are being asked to apply that into their writing. If you look at the one that's in purple, there's actually no knowledge outcomes in the grade 4 curriculum that tie to that specific skill and procedure. And so when you look back through the curriculum, the last knowledge outcome that ties to it is actually from the grade 3 curriculum. So the purple is showing that there is a knowledge outcome that still ties to the grade 4 skill and procedure. It's just not from that level when you look at the curriculum. So I hope that makes sense when you look at that. So again, your step one, which we're hoping you'll begin today, I doubt it gets finished, but I'm still going to explain all the steps as we go through it. But so within each general learning outcome of the subject that you are working on, determine which specific skills and procedures matter enough that they should be reported on. And then for each of those that you choose, we want you to link the essential skills and procedure to the knowledge specific learning outcomes, looking at previous, current, and future grades in order to fully understand the expectation that that skill and procedure is at that grade level. We want to know what the level of achievement should be. So once you've done that, the next step is going to be that for each essential skill and procedure, we want you to provide a description of each of the level of achievement, each level of achievement. Now we've gone to a common scale and the Power School report card across the division, so we're all using the same one. We want you to define or describe what excelling for that skill and procedure looks like. What does achieving for that skill and procedure look like? And then developing and then beginning. And please don't forget to focus on the verb and the content of the curriculum. So the content gives you what you're talking about, but the verb describes what you're hoping a kid can do with it. So as you're describing the level of achievement, it should be based off that verb in the curriculum. I'm going to show the math group something real fast. There are some documents that will be sent to you. They're called CPAR documents. I can't remember what it stands for, but they're documents that really, I believe it was the Alberta Consortium that put them out. But you'll see these and get them sent to you. And you'll notice that in these documents, there's a table, and that table has one column that's called achievement indicators. So a lot of this work will have been started for you. Our belief right now as we look at these is that these achievement indicators that are tied to the knowledge and the skills and procedures already, they will very much describe what we want in our achieving column. So you can almost copy and paste it from there and put it into the achievement column of the achieving column of the document that we're working on, but you'll still have to describe what excelling is, and then what developing is, and what beginning is. So some of that work will be there for you. But then the other thing that we want as we go through the school year is that for each of those skills and procedures that we've decided is essential, we would like you to provide an exemplar or exemplars for each of those levels of achievement. So provide different examples of what it looks like for that level of achievement. So, and I want to be careful here. There will be a different section that's provided on the document to provide examples of assessments that you use, as well as other valuable resources that you use. But what goes into this section is a picture or just somehow an exemplar of what that level of achievement looks like. In an email that Carly's sending you, you will have a description of where you're going to be putting those exemplars moving forward. So this is a quick snapshot of what the LA one looks like so far. So you can see that the understanding is in there, then the knowledge, and then the skill and procedure. This one does have it laid out, saying showing like what term that skill and procedure will be taught in, and then it shows what excelling looks like, what achieving looks like, developing, and beginning. There are no exemplars linked into this one yet. So I want to be careful here as we go through this. I want to point out that this is not a requirement for everyone to use the same assessment tool. So this isn't please go build a common assessment tool. It's not asking for that. It's establishing a common expectation around the curriculum, not around a tool. The other thing that this is not, it's not a common calendar. So when our levels of expectations around the curriculum match, the common calendar matters less, but it's not useless. But we'll talk about that a different time. And the other thing I want to point out is this is not a focus on instruction. So discussions around instruction will likely naturally happen, but this is a work that is focused on the assessment as we move that forward. So here's how the work is going to be divided. So Carson Elementary School teachers and McGrath Elementary School teachers are going to work on the math K-6 curriculum. I believe that there has been discussion that's happened already as to how those outcomes will be divided and who will work on what. The LA curriculum, Sterling School, Mountain View Schools, Spring Glen Elementary School, and Raymond Elementary School will all be working on that curriculum. Sterling's going to take conventions, Mountain View vocabulary, Spring Glen oral language, and then Raymond Elementary will take the others. You will get a link sent to you that will show you where on the division website we are going to be working on this and where as well as the documents that you can write this on. So here's a few tips that we want you to think of. Please work directly on the template. So when you get these links, don't create a different document to do your draft work on and then copy and paste it over. Please just do your draft work and all your work directly on the template. So it allows other groups to use works that are in progress. If there's something about the template that you don't like or you'd like to suggest an adjustment to, please email either me or Carly, and just realize we will welcome it, but we also might ignore it. So anyways, would still love to get the thoughts. And please adjust to this format if you already have this work done somewhere else. So if you have a group that's done things like this already, please just take it and move it to this format and put it in this document. Carly will explain where to post the exemplars. What we would like you to do as a group as you get going is to figure out what's going to work best for your group. Is it work better to describe the levels of exemplars and then, or sorry, the levels of achievement and then find exemplars? Or is it easier to gather exemplars and bring them in and then use that to help you describe the levels of achievement? It doesn't really matter what way, as long as you're still working on it. Some groups that have been working on stuff like this before, they use AI. Um, Anyone that I've seen use AI, it's actually a really nice start to be able to take a look at. But I haven't seen anybody who's truly liked like a rubric that AI has produced. They use it to start the conversation and get things going, but they always adjust it. And to be honest, most AI rubrics that I've seen that get kicked out are not usually rigorous enough. So take a look at that if you do use AI as you move forward. Realize that the division in the last year has gotten smaller groups with a few teachers from each grade level together working and building resources. Those groups are focused more on the instruction. So our PLCs this year are going to be about driving forward the understanding of levels of achievement and assessment. The last thing is a tech tip. If you are an accidental deleter, because everyone will have access to edit and make changes, please just be careful. We don't want to put in a lot of work and then lose it. So timelines, just so you're aware, today you'll get the email and you'll begin working at step 1A. We have Division PD days that are scheduled for December 6th and March 7th. We are expected to do work in between, and then as we come back on those days, we'll be sharing the drafts of the work that we've done so far to receive feedback from the rest of the grade level. The hope is at the end of this year, we will have LA and math done for defining the levels of achievement with exemplars. It is a hope. To be honest, we're not 100% sure how long this is fully going to take. Would love to walk the line between having this not really drag on and take forever, but we also don't want it to be a rush through and get it done without putting enough thought into it. We would like to produce useful and thoughtful documents. And then as we start each year, we should always review and adjust the documents for current understanding around the curriculum. That last point there, 40 hours, that is just so we can be aware that we have talked as elementary school principals, and all of us are looking at some way of counting this within the 40 hours. And so you'll have to talk to your principal or your admin team to figure out how that's going to work for your team.